Hi, this is Katelyn Liu, and I'm going to be walking you through the 4th grade worksheets for lesson 23. Mine looks a little different than yours because I'm only going to be going over some of the problems, but the first worksheet that you should have in front of you should say adding like fractions. I'm just going to do a review on fractions really quick. So let's just say you have 1 out of 2, which is a fraction. Remember that the top part is called the numerator, and then the bottom part is called the denominator. And if you ever need help in understanding fractions, just remember, draw a circle first. The circle is 1. And you look at the denominator, and it says 2, so you divide this circle into 2. Now there's 2 parts, and you look at the numerator, and it says 1 out of 2, so you shade in 1. This is what 1 out of 2 looks like. Okay, so number 2 on this page says 3 out of 4, write like this, plus 1 out of 4 equals, and we're trying to find the sum, what they add up to be. Now the first rule in adding or subtracting fractions is you look at the denominators of both of the fractions, and if they're the same, then you know that the answer also has a denominator of 4. And then after you know that, then you can add the numerators. 3 plus 1 equals 4. Now, if you want to draw this out, you have a circle, which is 1, and you divide it into 4. And if you have 4 out of 4, you shade 4 of the parts, which is all of them. And if you see this, all of it is shaded, which means that 4 out of 4 is also equal to 1. Now, here's a tip. If you ever see that the numerator and the denominator are the same number, your answer is always going to be 1. Number 7 says 2 out of 5 plus 1 out of 5 equals, we look and we see the denominators are the same, so we know that the denominator of the answer is also 5. Now we have a 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. Your answer would be 3 out of 5, because if you draw it out, this is 3, and that's not 1. That's as simple as it gets. So, your next worksheet that you should have in front of you says find the sum, which is the same thing as adding. This worksheet gets a little harder, so I'm going to be going over number 5, which is 3 out of 4 plus 2 out of 4. Oh, that's 5. 2 out of 4 is equal to, look at the denominators, 4 and a 4, so you know that this is a 4. And then you can add these two, 3 plus 2 equals 5. Now, there's 2 answers to this problem, because when you have a fraction whose top part, numerator, is bigger than the denominator, which is 5, is bigger than 4, then it's called an improper fraction. If we want to draw this out, we can say, you look at the denominator, and it's 4, so you separate into 4. Now, how do we shade 5? Because there's only 4 pieces. We'll just draw another one, make sure to divide it in 4 again, and you can shade 5 out of these pieces. Now, if we look at this, if each circle is 1, so this is 1, and this one would be 1 out of 4, because there's one part shaded out of 4. So a second answer, which is the same thing, would be 1 and 1 out of 4. So your answer would be 5 out of 4, or 1 and 1/4. Number 12 says 5 out of 5 plus 2 out of 5. These are both 5, so your denominator for the answer would be 5. 5 plus 2 equals 7, which is an improper fraction because 7 is greater than 5. So now 7 out of 5 would be one answer, but we can also say divide this into 5 and divide this into 5 again. And if we've shaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then if you look at this, you can say one circle is 1. This one is 2 out of 5 have been shaded. So your answer can also be 1 and 2 out of 5. Or. Okay, now we're moving on to the third worksheet, which says comparing fractions. as a review, you have to fill in the blank with this, this, or this. The first symbol means that the number on the left is less than the number on the right. The second symbol means that the number on the right is greater than the number on the left. The third symbol, which is an equal sign, means that both numbers are equal. With that being said, we look at these numbers. We have 1 out of 4 plus 2 out of 4 is something to 1 out of 2. So we can't just base it off of what we see here because we still need to add. We don't know what this part equals to. So 4, 4, which means the answer is out of 4, 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. So now rewrite it. 3 out of 4 is something to 1 out of 2. Now, we can't compare this because both of the denominators are different, which means that we can draw it out. So, you draw a circle, and for 3 out of 4, the denominator is 4, so you separate this into 4, and you shade 3 parts. For 1 out of 2, the circle, the denominator is 2, so you separate into 2 parts, and you will get the 1, you only shade 1 part. So now if you look at both of the circles, you can tell that 3 out of 4 is greater than 1 out of 2 because there's a bigger part that is shaded other than just this part. So going on to the next worksheet, it says find the value of n. So n is basically a number that we don't know, that we're trying to figure out, that we're trying to find. And if we have 7 out of 10 plus 2 out of n equals 9 out of 10, if you look at this and you know the rule that if both of the denominators are the same, then the denominator of the answer will be the same. Now, if we look at this, 7 plus 2 is equal to 9, which is correct, which means that n has to equal 10, because these denominators need to be the same in order for this to make sense. So n is equal to 10. Number 7 says 3 out of 8 plus 3 out of 8 is equal to n out of 4. Now, this is the same, so from what we know, the answer is out of 8, but it says 4 here, but we're just going to think about that later. And then we have 3, which is 6 here. Now, you can simplify this because if you notice, 6 and 8 are both even numbers, which means you can divide them both by 2 because they're even. Now, if you divide them both by 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3, 8 divided by 2 is 4, so your answer would be 3 out of 4, the most simplified. Now, if you look at this, you can tell that n equals 3.